Welcome to Movie Rehash. Today, I'm going to explain an action, drama movie released in 2023, titled, The Equalizer 3. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In Sicily, there's a crime boss named Lorenzo Vitali. He goes to his vineyard with his grandson and sees a lot of dead bodies all around. He goes inside by himself and discovers that 3 of his henchmen have captured Robert McCall, with a gun pointed at him. Vitali asks McCall why he's there, and McCall explains he's looking for something they took from him. McCall tells them they have 9 seconds to back off before he takes down the 3 henchmen. After defeating them, he leaves Vitali injured on the ground, but then McCall picks up a shotgun and fatally shoots Vitali in the head. As McCall walks away with a bag, the grandson spots him. McCall instructs the boy to stay in the car. The boy shoots McCall in the leg and then flees. McCall drives until he passes out. He's discovered by a police officer named Gio Bonaxai, who takes him to a doctor in their town, Enzo Arizio. Enzo tells Gio to explain that McCall had a fall if anyone inquires about it. McCall wakes up a few days later and discovers he's in Altomonte, a small town. He becomes friends with Enzo, who finds a place for him to live. He also gets close to Gio and Gio's daughter, Gabby. McCall starts visiting the local cafe and befriends one of the workers there, Amina. When Enzo asks McCall if he's a good or bad person, McCall admits he's not sure. He's troubled by memories of his late friend, Susan Plummer, and he recalls how he dealt with the men at the vineyard one by one. Later, McCall reaches out to the Gia and talks to Emma Collins. He tells her about what he discovered at the vineyard in Sicily and advises her to look into it. Collins, along with her partner Frank Conroy, and their team, investigates the tip and discovers 11 million euros and a large amount of drugs. She eventually tracks down McCall in Altomonte and starts communicating with him regarding their findings at the vineyard. At the market in Altomonte, there's a troublemaker named Marco Quaranta who's bothering a fish vendor named Angelo because he didn't get protection money from him. He insists that Angelo must provide it next time. Marco and his brother Vincent lead the Camorra, a mafia group that causes fear in Altomonte. Marco goes to see Vincent while he's in a meeting with a couple who won't give up their building for Vincent to turn into a hotel. In response, Vincent has the wife's wheelchair-bound father thrown and hung from a window, leaving his body for others to see as a warning. Gio receives a phone call informing him that Gabby left school earlier than expected. When he questions her teacher, she explains that one of his officers picked her up. In a hurry, Gio rushes home and discovers that Gabby, along with his wife Chiara, is being held against their will by Marco and his henchmen. They threaten Gio to make him stay out of their business. During the night, McCall observes people rushing away upon hearing a bell ringing. Angelo's shop has been intentionally set on fire, and he and his wife can only stand by as they helplessly watch their shop engulfed in flames. McCall spots Marco and his henchmen calmly observing the situation, and he decides that they are the ones he needs to confront. Collins watches a news report about a terrorist attack in Rome, which is thought to be carried out by Syrian terrorists. However, because of the information she's gathered from McCall, she doubts that Syrians are responsible, even though their drugs were found at the vineyard. She confides in Conroy, explaining that she thinks there's a larger scheme at play. Indeed, Vincent discusses with Marco their plans to take control of the entire coast with their own businesses, and the terrorist attack was part of this plan. Collins also finds herself near an explosion in the city while attempting to approach her car, but she survives and is taken to the hospital. Marco goes to a restaurant where Gio is having dinner with his family, hoping to press him into helping with boats from Somalis. While there, Marco notices McCall watching him and decides to confront him. McCall makes it clear that he won't tolerate any more threats against Gio's family. He grabs Marco's wrist and applies pressure to a nerve in his hand, causing him intense pain, which forces Marco to instruct his henchmen to leave the restaurant. Once outside, Marco plans to seek revenge, but one of his henchmen is accidentally hit by a van driven by another henchman who has already been taken out by McCall. McCall then defeats the last henchman and confronts Marco. He breaks Marco's arm and forces him to accidentally stab himself to death. After Vincent learns of his brother's death, he is visited by Chief Barella, who appears to be associated with the Camorra. Barella makes threats, leading Vincent to injure his own hand. He then has one of his henchmen harm Barella, before sending him to the hospital for medical treatment. Vincent begins to plan his retaliation. Vincent and his henchmen go to Altomonte and confront Gio, shooting a gun close to his ear and making threats to harm him and his family unless the person responsible for his brother's death appears. McCall steps forward and instructs Vincent to take him but leave everyone else unharmed. Just as Vincent is about to kill McCall, Enzo fires a rifle. The local residents begin recording the villains with their phones, compelling them to escape before the police arrive. Vincent returns to his base and starts planning an attack on Altomonte the next day. Unfortunately for them, McCall has already located them and begins eliminating them one by one. Vincent is awakened when one of his henchmen's blood drips from the ceiling and the body crashes through the glass. Vincent tries to flee but is knocked out by McCall. When he regains consciousness, he discovers that McCall has administered a lethal dose of the drugs found at the vineyard, giving him only a few minutes before his heart stops. Vincent tries to run into the street with McCall slowly following, but he ends up being hit by a car, The crime lord stumbles a bit further before he ultimately passes away. McCall pays a visit to the hospital where Collins is recuperating. He confesses that the actual reason he came to Sicily was to recover pension money that had been stolen by the criminals from someone he knew. He leaves her with the bag containing the recovered money. Collins travels to Boston to meet the person McCall mentioned. The man and his wife are moved and thankful to discover that their stolen money has been returned. Upon returning to her job, Collins receives a small black book from McCall, containing information about all his personal gatherings, along with a note that says, "Your mother would be so proud of you." Collins then gazes at a photograph on her desk, revealing that she is Susan's daughter. McCall decides to stay in Altamonte and joins the locals in celebrating the victory of their football team. In this way, movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie recaps.